Bonsoir, good evening everybody. Welcome to the Wales post-match press conference. We'll get straight into questions. Please raise your hand, wait for the microphone and introduce yourself before asking your question. Thank you. First question, please. Yeah, at the front here.
Yeah, hi. Just can you tell us what you're feeling now, both of you, please?
Yeah, obviously we're incredibly disappointed, but I want to I don't want to take anything away from Argentina in terms of their performance. They are a tough team to put away, and they hung in there with the fight, kept going. It was a incredibly physical test match, which really could have gone any way. So, but they deserve a lot of credit for the way that they played today. For us, we weren't quite at our best, but we had opportunities to win the game. But definitely don't want to take anything away from the Argentinian performance.
Yep, next question here.
Yeah, obviously, more or less the same. Got disappointed with the results, but full credit to Argentina. They took their opportunities well, and yeah, they just got it.
Warren, for the first half an hour, you seemed well in control. You were 10-0 up. Why do you think it got away from you after that point?
It probably didn't help with the referee getting injured. So, that kind of was a little bit disruptive in terms of the game. Look, we've 10-0 up, and we're thinking if we take a few the opportunities that get presented to us, and unfortunately we've given away a couple of soft penalties that allowed them to sort of go in it with a couple of those before half time. So we spoke about how important discipline was and not giving anything, and that allowed them to stay in the game in terms of keeping the scoreboard ticking over, and they took their opportunities. So yeah, that's just the way test match rugby goes sometimes.
Hi Warren, just following on from that, what difference did the change in referee make, do you think, to the game, and were you disappointed with the petty incident that wasn't even penalised?
Be interesting to see what happens in terms of the feedback from the panel. If he's felt that Nick's dropped his height and said it wasn't foul play, look, I need to go back and have a look at it. I probably think it's at least a penalty situation, and then from that, we felt Dylan Lewis was on the ball for a significant amount of time before they end up scoring their try as well. So, sometimes those things happen in a game, and big moments can swing things. Yeah, it's just the way it is.
Next question. Yeah.
Warren, coming into this tournament, there was a bit of talk about a potential break clause in your contract after this. Are you committed to taking this project through to 2027? Just for clarity.
Is this like an Eddie Jones question, is it? Yeah, I'm not actually sure what's in my contract. I think there's a clause from the union, and I'm not too sure what the actual wording is. I haven't actually read it, so.
Would you like to take this group through to 2027?
Yeah, absolutely. But if the union want to get rid of me, then they're completely entitled to do that as well. So that's up to them.
There's a young core to this squad that, in time, will learn a lot from this. It's an exciting group for that project, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. I spoke in the change rooms to the boys about. We're all pretty disappointed, pretty gutted about that. It's one that slipped away from us, but you've got to take learnings, and how do you continue to improve and develop as a squad? And probably some of the learnings from today. We had a team that kicked a lot against us and kicked long, and we probably at times played a little bit too much rugby around about halfway, and maybe needed to be potentially a little bit more conservative. Like I said, there's a couple of discipline things, but how do we take those learnings and grow as a team? In terms of we've got a game against the Barbarians, and then we've got to start focusing and thinking about the Six Nations and making sure that we don't take a backward step. I'm incredibly proud of the work that these players have put in, the coaches, the whole staff, they've been absolutely fantastic, but we've made some really good strides, and we need to make sure that we continue on that path, and we don't want to be sort of going backwards. So that's a good challenge for us to accept and make sure that we continue to keep improving.
Warren, just on the referee change again, how big a curveball is that? Because you'll obviously do a significant amount of prep for one rep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it does throw you off. We were comfortable with Jaco Piper and the relationship that we have with him in terms of his control of the game. It's nothing against Carl, but you sort of do a lot of analysis through what referees tend to be tough on, what they're looking for, and we hadn't sort of really prepared for the change. But that's sometimes it happens in the game, and you just got to deal with it.
Yes, for the captain. Yesterday, Dan Biggar talked about an X factor in Los Pumas. Did you feel something like that today? They surprised to you in any aspect of the game?
Yeah, we prepped the Argentina, and we thought they were, they're always a physical team. They've got a lot of X factor players. And in all fairness to them, we made a couple of errors in discipline, and they capitalised on it. And for credit to them, they put a good performance in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question. Yep.
Warren, just a word on Dan Biggar, who has now played his last game in a red jersey.
Oh, he's been a great servant for Welsh rugby. He's been through some incredible highs and some lows as well. So, for a youngster who'd come into the side and to see him mature and develop as a player, I think that's been a bit, been pretty special. He's made a decision to finish international rugby, and probably for us, we're not going to have Gareth Anscombe available, but we're excited about a young kid coming through in terms of Sam Costello. We think he's going to be a little bit special going forward. He's still got a lot of growth in his game as well, but Dan's been an incredible servant. He's so competitive. He wants to win, and he definitely wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's probably been one of his big accolades in terms of what he's brought to this team over the years.
Hi, Warren, down here. It might be a little bit fresh for you, but could you try to analyse the campaign and how it's gone on the back of a tough Six Nations and a tough summer, an amazing start, and now this? Just took us through the whole 5 weeks.
Yeah, look, there was a lot of people writing us off before this tournament, saying that we potentially wouldn't get out of our group. So that was the first thing in terms of making sure that we had done that. Like I said, this group of players have worked very hard to get what they've achieved. I just said to the players in the change rooms, they're pretty down, they're very disappointed, but they should hold their heads up because they should be pretty proud of what they've done, even though we're disappointed with the loss today. And I said we've got to make sure we continue to grow and improve as a team, and there's some exciting players coming through and some players who aren't here. Hopefully that they will be inspired by this group and want to make sure that they work hard as well and want to be involved in this side going forward.
I'm sorry, it's a pretty lame question, but what happened with the numbers and the plain jerseys?
I don't know. No? You know as much as me, so I've got no idea what happened.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just needed to know, sorry.
It hasn't happened in any of the other games, so I don't know whether it was a fault of the manufacturers or not. I'm definitely not sure.
Warren, you mentioned Sam and the potential he's got. Obviously, he looked distraught at what happened. You were chasing the game. What were you able to say to him that will enable him to get over this very quickly?
It's a rugby incident, you know, you can't dwell on that. Probably you look at the options and they've defended quite narrow in that situation. You know, we've practiced that play, and in fairness to Argentina, you know, they've read that and capitalised on it. And probably the way that they've set up, it's maybe an option we could have gone wider earlier in terms of, you know, sort of a double miss in terms of our setup. And that's, you know, that's a huge learning moment for him, and I don't want him to be too disappointed or get upset about that, because, you know, those things can happen to any player, whether you're a young player or an older, experienced player. So I don't want him to dwell on it. I just want him to learn and move on from that and start thinking about, you know, what sort of impact he's going to have on this team going forward.
Next question. Yeah, Mitch.
Just actually repeating the question for the captain, can you just talk us through the last 5 weeks for you and the whole adventure of the 5 weeks and the time before that?
Yeah, it's been a great experience over the 5 weeks, and yeah, it's over the last few months. Got to give full credit to the boys as a squad, and the coaching staff and the backroom staff. You know, they've been brilliant, and everyone's worked hard. And I think where we've come from where we were before, I think we can be, as a squad and a team, we can be really proud of the performances we've put in. Obviously disappointed with the result today, but like I said, we just can't take a backward step and move on and keep improving from here and learn a lesson.
Warren, hi. How much of a missed opportunity is this? I mean, obviously, everyone, I don't expect you to talk about the draw. It is what it is, but a missed opportunity to get into the last four of a World Cup?
Yeah, it's always a missed opportunity. But let's take nothing away from Argentina. I mean, they've beaten some. You know, they've had wins against the All Blacks in the last few years. Obviously, with Australia in the Championship this year as well. So they're a dogged team. They hang in there. They play for each other. And if you don't take your chances and keep the scoreboard ticking over, then they'll keep coming at you, and then, you know, it's exactly what they did today. So so yeah, look, we're disappointed because the way that we'd trained and prepared, we went into this game with a lot of confidence, thinking as long as we're accurate, execute the game plan, that, you know, we felt that we'd be there for the semi-finals. It's not to be, but and that's sport sometimes.
Next question. If we don't have any more from the floor, I believe we've got one in Welsh for Jac.
Jac Morgan, mae'n anodd i chi siarad yn ni ar hyn o bryd wedi'r gêm yna, ond os allai ofyn doi mewn un i ti, ble ti'n credu oedd y gêm yna wedi llithro o'ch gafel chi? A'r ail gwestiwn, siwr fydde ti'n edrych nôl ar y gystadleuaeth gyfan, a'r profiad i ti ac i'r garfan gyfan? So, doi gwestiwn mewn un os allai di. Diolch.
Ie, twyd, o'n i yn hanner ar cynta, o'n i gyda'r control o'r gêm yn ffordd, ond jyst cyn yr hanner amser, dyma ni'n rhoi cwpl o cicau osbant, disgybleth i gael ei lawr tymor bach a camgymeriadau, a pob clod i'r ariannau o'n nhw di, pob tro o'n i'n gwneud camgymeriad neu bach disgybleth gael ei lawr, o'n nhw di capitalise yna fe, o'n nhw waren yr ardaloedd dda yn rhaid o'r gêm, a twyd nhw wedi cymryd y pwyntiau a pob clod iddyn nhw, twyd o'n nhw'n tuff. O'n i'n gwybod pa mor cyfforol o'n nhw'n mynd i bod fel tîm, a pob clod iddyn nhw iddi ar y canlyniad. A jyst gyda'r wythnosau diwetha a'r misoedd diwetha, gyda faint mor galed mae'r carfan i gyd di gweithio, y staff i gyd, fel y physios, pawb yn y tu ôl hefyd, faint maen nhw wedi gweithio i'r boys. Mae rhywbeth ni llen bod yn prowd o'r perfformiadau ni wedi cael dros y wythnos diwetha a dros y pencampwriaeth. Obviously ni'n siomedig a gati gyda heddi, ond hefyd twyd ni ffili cymered backward step nawr, ni'n rhaid ni symud ymlaen achos o le o'n i dechrau blwyddyn i nawr, fi'n credu gallwn ni bod yn proud a ni wedi dod yn bell. Diolch.
Jac, Warren, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Argentina will be through shortly. Thanks, everyone.